Okay, people, this is a tutorial for doing the substance, the texture in substance for the robot, and then we do the Unreal Engine setup. So with this, you should have everything to work on the assignment. So one thing before we do the substance painter work is that before I noticed that it was hard to work in Unreal if the model that you bring into Unreal is small. So what you are gonna do instead, if the model you have is very small, you will have something like this. Maybe in the outliner you select everything in the viewport of your robot and you do Ctrl G and you got a group. You right click, you rename it, just to be a bit tidy, and then you scale it up a lot, okay? Like this. And then what you want to do, it's basically you want to freeze the transformation, because you see we did some scale modification and it's not good to keep it, so you need to freeze it. Is this icon here, freeze transformation, and bam, everything is one. So now you can select the robot, file, export selection, you choose wherever you want to export it, and you choose FBX export, and you will name it robot something, and you do then export selection, and then you will have the FBX file ready, okay? But I'm not gonna do it because I already have it, okay? I have it here, the FBX of the robot, but that's what you will get out of the export, a file like this with FBX. And if you don't see FBX, it's because you don't have file extension enabled, so you need to go to the Windows. If you're working with Windows, you do file extension, and where is it? Show file extension in file, and have it checked. So if you have it like this, put it on, so you're gonna see what extension is this file. It's a good habit, to be honest. It's good stuff. So let's do the substance painter work. So I'm gonna run substance, okay? And of course, while substance loads, we do remember about the UV story, isn't it? So the UVs of the robot are like this, okay? We did, modify layout, and we kept those, kind of settings. So it will be 2K, and shell and tile padding will be 10 pixels, okay? So they are not overlapping, okay? So I did it in another machine, not in this one. So in that machine I had, these settings, 10, 10, and 2K, and then apply. And you will have something that looks like this, okay? So the shells are nice and distance, and also they don't, cross the border here, okay? That's good. We remember this, yeah? Then okay, substance painter, when you launch it, you're gonna have this weird message. You do continue anyway, okay? And you do continue using your current version, next. Then it tells you something to finish if you're working here. And close, okay? So this is the basic interface, so we already see how it works. So let's just open the robot, okay? I'm gonna be quick, okay? So I go to the desktop, okay, is where I have my things, and I've got a folder here called tutorial, and no, actually I don't. I've got a folder, let's begin. You're here, you do file new, and then you set 2K, PBR metallic roughness is fine, then you select the geo, the file, the FBX that we exported, isn't it? So Dexter robot project, what is it? Tutorial. Robo export is this thing here. And is the FBX that we talked about before. I select it, it's here, I press OK. And then we have it, okay? So the new thing we introduced last time is baking, okay? And again, shift, right click, shift, middle mouse, shift. So if you do shift right click, you can move the light around, and then alt is like Maya. Then everything else is like Maya. Then shift right click, you can move the light around. Personal preference, I want to see my panorama, so I want to, check it out, and we have something like this going on, okay? But it's a preference. Now, before we do any quick material setup, of course, I'm not gonna stay here 2 hours, but we need to bake, okay? New concept. We're gonna talk about this again and again, but we need to bake the geometry. What is baking? Is basically the software substance, in this case, is gonna run an X-ray in your model, and it's gonna try to kind of understand more about the different objects and elements of your 3D model to allow you to have more control over the texture work that you can do in Substance. But that's a bit maybe more advanced for later. But the baking is essential. But it's easy. So all you have to do is to basically go to texture set. You are here by default. You go to texture set settings, and you do bake mesh maps. You bake at 2K, and usually I go 2 multiplied 2 times 2. I don't know how you say that, but it's this one, okay? And the idea is gonna complain. You could uncheck it if you want, but it's fine. But 2K and subsampling 2 and 2, okay? That's it. So bake Lambert 1 mesh maps. Let's do it. So you see it's gonna calculate some stuff. ID is complaining. I don't mind. But now we have, something better to work with, okay? Just follow me for now, okay? Just trust me. Just do the baking. Then I want to go quickly, okay? I want to stay here 2 hours. I like the plastic gloss for this model, so I add it, and you got something looking like this, okay? And then I did some, I add something. I add like a metal, because I think, this robot should have been, a bit metallic. So I think I chose, maybe steel rust surface or something in these smart materials, okay? And the smart material don't work if you don't bake your geo, okay? Take a look, it's cool. But I want it just on some elements, because I want to keep the yellow plastic in the main part of the robot. So what do you do in that case? When you have the steel rust surface on top of the plastic gloss, you do right click, add black mask, so you hide it, and now we're gonna show it back only where we want it. So this tool here is the polygon fill, and we choose the mesh fill, okay? Mesh is gonna select it and fill the UVs just in one object. So I'm going to do in this leg, and you can see in fact that just this leg is now metal. I'm going to do the same, one click, one click, one click, and maybe also this one, yeah, it's cool. Okay, but then it's my preference. You can do your own style, okay? I also like here, maybe, here, here, so you see you need to be careful a bit, here, and that's enough. And it's cool, yeah, it's cool enough, it's alright. Maybe here as well, in these two things. Yeah, nice, cool. Now, I wanted to, this out, let's say it's kind of a paint metal. I want to make some sort of, kind of rust just on the edges where it's looking a bit broken, okay? To make it look a bit broken. So take a look what I'm doing. I am going to materials, and I'm going to take, where is it? Rust fine, yeah? Nice one. And I put it below the plastic glossy. You know why? Because the rust fine is below usually the coating outside of it. So now this is called plastic glossy, but let's say it's painted metal. Probably there was in the smart materials a better thing to do it, like a real painted metal, but maybe this machinery, but I still prefer this one. And now take a look. We want to basically procedurally very quickly create some sort of effect that will show the rust just around the corners where it's supposed to be more broken and beaten. Okay, so how do you do that? I'm gonna apply a white mask, okay? And a white mask is not gonna do anything. It's gonna keep this the whole time. Is white. If it's black, it hides, like in the metal in this case. But the white is gonna show, so nothing is gonna change for now. But you see here there is smart mask, and there is one in particular that I think is good for this instance. That is the gun edge, and I put it on top of the paint metal, on top of the. You need to think that you are dragging this gun edge on top of the white mask, and you got this now. But it's basically the opposite of what I want to do. So I'm going here, I select the mask editor and global invert on. So you see now you got something like this. I think it's better, okay? You see you got some nice story going on here, nice variation. It's better, okay? It's cool. And it's good to go for now. But one thing I want to do is that usually you will get, take a look, the same UV, I don't care. Anyway, when you do these kind of things, you want to, this looks very bad actually. Let's see if I can fix it. Add a paint. If you add a paint, we can modify further. But I need a brush. And I need the brush dirt 2. I'm gonna get this brush, dirt 2. I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna paint with black here, so we hide that seam. I just hate it. The too ugly. Yeah, okay. It's a bit better, okay? You got a punch right here from some enemy, okay? Cool, nice. So, I want to give this kind of paint on top of the rust some sort of, feeling that is, more thick, that comes out. So take a look. I'm going here in height, and I can mess with the height, you see? So I think in this case, a value 0.05, maybe a bit less than that, 0.04 is enough, okay? Like this is cool. Yeah, it's cool, it's good. Then another thing I did in my version is I did the light. So you see the rust is all on the bottom, see? It's cool stuff. I did the light, so to do that I need to add another fill layer and call it light. Okay, and this is gonna be tricky because we need to add another channel. So we need to go to texture set settings, channels, plus we need to do an emissive, okay? Then we go back to layers and we got the emissive. And I want to uncheck everything except the emissive and get a color I like. So I think I did some sort of, kind of bright bluish maybe, something like that. Yeah, something like this maybe. Yeah. But this light is not everywhere, I just want it here. So take a look, I do apply and add black mask. And then here, with the polygon fill, I do the same, okay? So we're gonna have now the light just here, see? It's cool. So if you take the environment option, and I think if we can set how strong the light is. I wanted to, see? If we take the light off, you just see the light. If you take the HDRI around it completely down, this is the light, okay? It's gonna be cool. Then another thing I did was to basically add some dirt on here, the shoes, because maybe he walks around. So how do you do that? Let's do this quickly. I go back, I close this, I go back to my layers, and in the smart materials there is one thing that is called, I think, dirt. Where is it? Dirt, yeah, this one. I add it on the top, okay? And it's gonna be crazy, like everywhere. I want to add a black mask. And you know what? I want to use still those smart masks, but there is one that I like, grounded, and I drop it there. And now the ground, so mask editor, we don't need this, I think. Mask, and why is that working? So let me just remove layer mask. Remove mask, okay? The dirt is here, yeah? I add a black mask and I drag and drop the ground dirt. Okay, so now we see it, okay? It's just there. But I want to, add more dirt, okay? I think it's not really much. I just want to add a bit more there, so if I go over the mask and I do add a paint, with the paint I go with my brush and I can, automatically, if I paint, with white, I should be able to show it. Maybe, you know what, I need to add a paint here. Oh yeah, this is the story. So take a look. I think this is better. So actually we don't need to work in the folder, we need to work in this dirt base. And then we can drag and drop, this one. Yeah, that's better. So then I will, play with these settings maybe, global balance. Yeah, take a look, way better. I like it more like this. Yeah, this is good. And even here, you can, I believe, play with some height, because this thing is gonna, be on top of the paint, so it's gonna be a bit like this. No, maybe plus. Yeah, something like this. Okay, that's enough. Okay, I think we can, just move on. So how to export the texture for a substance? Super easy. First you will save the file save as, and you will choose your destination to save it, okay? Better word tidy, maybe you have a folder with everything. But what you have to do is do file, export textures, and then you have this kind of windows here, isn't it? What you want to do is go check config, and we have PBR metal rough, it's good. Then what you want to do, common padding, you need to go to dilation plus default background color, and dilation pixel I will set something like 4, okay? So just follow these settings for now, then maybe we can understand them better, but I think this should be okay for the export. And another thing very important is we need to set a folder where to export, otherwise the computer is going to send you somewhere that maybe is hard to find. So you could, if you have a folder with your project in the desktop, you go in that folder, like I have robot project, I go substance, and there is robot texture version 1, I select that folder, and then I will do my select folder, and it will rewrite everything here, see? And then you do export. So I don't do that now, okay, because I already did it. But the export, actually, let's try to do it, because I want to compare it with mine, okay, just to give you, everything that we need. Tutorial, I did, robot texture v1. No, it's not here. I call it folder test, okay? I select it, select folder, so we are here, test. I do export, and let's see what do we get, okay, guys? Let's see, export, finish, okay, cool. Let's go out, I don't save it, I don't care. We have the test folder, yeah, and I want you to open it and check the story we have. So we already did this together, but I want you to do one thing. I want you guys to remove the AO, delete, and I want also you guys to remove the height, because we are gonna need just this 5 texture: base color, emissive, metallic, normal, and roughness. The emissive is the light in that kind of eye looking things in the robot, okay? I know that rather we know them: base color, metallic, normal, roughness, isn't it? So we know them. So they're here, okay? So that's what you want to do. You want to remove AO and hive, okay? We learn about those later. For now, just let's keep this one, okay? And that will be enough for, the export from Maya a substance. Oh, sorry, not this. And substance painter work. Sorry, I closed substance. But in the next tutorial, we're gonna do the Unreal session, okay? Good.